Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to figure out if this company is doing a magic trick to make money disappear or if they are actually making it rain. Today we are looking at Spree Acquisition Corp, One Limited and their latest report. Now this isn't a typical everyday company report, it is more like a status update, especially when it comes to their long-term plans and leadership. Think of it as a check-in to see if they are still on track to do something big or if they are just acquiring time. The main reason for this report is that on the 19th of December 2025, Spree Acquisition Corp, One Limited had a big meeting with their shareholders. They needed to get approval for some changes, and it seems like they got them. One of the most important things they did was amend their trust agreement. Now, what does that mean in simple terms? Imagine a company like Spree Acquisition Corp. One Limited is like a special purpose vehicle. They exist to find another company, buy it, and merge with it. They are given a certain amount of time to do this. This amendment essentially buys them more time. They extended the deadline to complete their initial business combination, which is fancy talk for their big merger, from the 20th of December 2025 all the way to the 20th of December 2026. So they have about another year to find their target and make the deal happen. This extension wasn't just a handshake agreement, it required shareholders to vote and approve an amendment to their Articles of Association. This is like changing the company's rulebook. The change means Spree Acquisition Corp. One Limited now has until December 2026 to find and complete a business combination. If they don't, they might have to give back the money they raised. Now for some drama in the executive suite, there have been a few high-profile departures. Joachim Dries, David Rumenschneider, and Philip von Hagen have all resigned as directors. And get this, Aaron Plott has stepped down as both a director and the chief executive officer. Nir Sasson also resigned as chief operating officer. The report assures us these weren't due to any big disagreements, which is typical PR language, but it does leave the company with just one director, Stephen Greenfield. But it is not all departures. Shay Kronfeld, who was the chief financial officer, has now taken on the top job as chief executive officer. This is a pretty common move in these types of companies, where the finance person steps up to lead the charge, especially when the company is in an acquisition phase. They are saying there are no special arrangements or family ties that got him this promotion, and he hasn't had any major deals with the company that need to be reported. Let's talk about that shareholder meeting on the 19th of December 2025. They held an extraordinary general meeting. The shareholders had two main proposals to vote on. First, they voted on the extension amendment to the company's articles, which we just talked about. Second, they voted on the trust agreement amendment, which is essentially the same extension, but through the trust itself. Both proposals passed. For the Articles extension proposal, pretty much everyone voted yes. We're looking at 5,947,618 votes for and 0 against or abstaining. That is a pretty solid endorsement for giving the company more time. The trust extension proposal also sailed through with flying colours. Again, 5,947,618 votes for and 0 against or abstaining. It seems the shareholders are happy to give Spree Acquisition Corp. One Limited a longer leash to find that perfect merger. Interestingly, in connection with this vote, 5 publicly held Class A ordinary shares were redeemed. This reduced the number of publicly held Class A shares to 23,473. It signifies a small number of shareholders deciding to cash out rather than wait for the company to find its merger target. It is not a huge number, but it shows some investors are losing patience or hedging their bets. This filing doesn't contain detailed financial statements that you might find in a quarterly or annual report, like a 10Q or 10K. It is more about the operational and governance changes. The exhibits mentioned are the amendments to the company's articles and the trust agreement itself. So, what is the big picture here? Spree Acquisition Corp. One Limited is essentially a company that raised money with the promise of finding and merging with another business. They were running out of time, and this report tells us they successfully lobbied their shareholders to get an extension. The key leadership changes, especially the CEO stepping down and the CFO taking over, suggests a shift in strategy or a recognition that new leadership is needed to find and close a deal. The overwhelming shareholder support for the extension is a vote of confidence, or perhaps a sign that shareholders believe a deal is still possible and they don't want to lose their investment. However, it is important to remember that these SPACs, or special purpose acquisition companies, have a checkered past. Many fail to find a suitable merger target within their time frame and end up liquidating, returning the cash to shareholders, minus certain fees. The fact that Spree Acquisition Corp. One Limited needed to extend its deadline and saw leadership changes isn't necessarily a red flag. But it does mean increased scrutiny is warranted. They are buying more time, but the pressure is still on to deliver a compelling business combination. The core strength here is the shareholder support and the extended runway. Weaknesses include the inherent risk of SPACs and the recent leadership churn, which can sometimes signal internal challenges or a lack of strong deal flow. The opportunity is to find a company that can benefit from being public via Spree Acquisition Corp. 1 Limited. A key risk is failing to close a deal before the new deadline, leading to liquidation. In conclusion, Spree Acquisition Corp. 1 Limited has bought itself another year to make a splash. The new leadership will be under the spotlight to find that perfect acquisition and execute a successful merger. We'll be watching to see if they can turn this extended time into a winning deal. Alright, that is our breakdown of Spree Acquisition Corp. 1 Limited's latest filing. What is your take on these extensions and leadership changes? Do you think they will find a good company to merge with? Drop your thoughts in the comments if this analysis was valuable. Hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. Don't forget to check out our Discord community linked in the description below, where we discuss these kinds of insights and more. Thanks for watching. See you next time.